So good afternoon, everybody. My session on automotive display trends and technologies. I'm just sharing some notes from SID Display Week, and how the industry is evolving. And you've all seen cars evolve, and this is the Benz motor wagon 1886, something 100 years plus back. And can you imagine a vehicle, no cockpits, no sensors, no instruments, okay, and therefore least maintenance, that was functional. But if you actually take a look at it, how does the instrumentation evolve? From mechanical to actually slowly electromechanical, scaling up in the amount of content that particular information that can be handled by the devices. Imagine the evolution of the dashboard. Imagine the first heads-up display. It's actually showing the display in the radiator coolant thermometer in the Bearcat, 1930. And I think of my Fiat in the 1965 model, my first car. My wife called it a Dippa, and it actually had, you could actually see the radiator is hot by the steam that was leaking out from the vehicle. So you can just imagine how the sensors have evolved over a period of time. My evolution of that car, I have a special affection for it. I converted it into CNG, okay, and I convert not into CNG, an LPG vehicle, and that was because I read somewhere that you can use LPG in the car. So I got a cylinder and I put it at the wife's cooking gas cylinder, went into it, and we tweaked with the radiator till at a point of time it fired, and it gave me in that era on 60 rupee cylinder 300 kilometers. Okay, so you can just imagine 20 paisa to a kilometer I was getting in that era. Rode it for 2 to 3 years. Then my company gave me a car. Okay, and my wife told me, you're not going to touch it. So times evolved, but so have displays. From the mechanical systems, the dinosaur age devices that we have seen in the past, you have now devices which are even the analog devices that you see today on this particular image are actually digital, created on a LCD screen, or you can take the version which include touch screens. Color is rampant. You have heads-up displays with AR/VR integrated in it, capturing data on those in those cars from the zones through which the car is passing, and then giving an update that this zone is having a speed limit of 60 kilometers and you have crossed 60 kilometers. So you can just imagine how the car is evolving as of now. The automotive displays of the future are even more exciting. These are some of the snaps I have taken from Display Week. The top two images are the BOE heads-up displays, color, extremely sharp, with a lot more clarity in the from the perspective of the driver. And then you have the pillar-to-pillar displays that are shown here. One is from Car UX or Innolux, the other is from Tianma, with a very interesting composite substrate. If you take a look at the corner, the top right display, you have LG with a concept car, and that is also very interesting. Take a look at this. That was the back seat display. This is rooftop display. Transparent rooftop display. And then you have the dashboard displays, the center stacks. It's amazing. In fact, with so many displays, I think one of the things that our leaders from the automotive sector will talk of this, how they have to manage the HMI, the human machine interface, to make sure that these many displays are not a distraction for the driver. So that is how it is actually evolving. This is another one, the 10-mark display. No buttons, just a screen, opposite displays, designed to operate in harsh environment with features that include pillar-to-pillar, center stacks, and heads-up displays. So you can just see the heads-up display on the windshield. Again, a concept car that was a display out there. Or you can take another one out here. This is the analog targets. There is no side mirror. You're actually going to get camera view of your side displays. So the world is evolving. What is really shaping this world are the users. Clearly the input that is coming in is that there is a tremendous drive for improved center stacks and instrument clusters. Most people seem to be very keen to pay a price for increased safety. And they are very keen to pay for a heads-up display in the next speaker. Having seen a heads-up display abroad is almost, one of those things. I came out here, started looking for it, found, products available in the marketplace. I want to add it to my car. So it's actually a drive by the users to get these applications into their vehicles that is going to recreate this market. This is visible in the data points also. If you take a look at the way the market is evolving, you can clearly see on the extreme left, what you have is the way the automobile monitor shipments have actually grown, and then they have seen an inventory correction of the last year, but with the inventory correction, the prediction is very strong for automotive monitors in the next year. If you actually factor in the way the growth is going, today automotive displays are one of the fastest growing sectors in display industry. And there are elements of it which are growing even faster than others. So if you take the bar graphs on the right, there is a tremendous interest obviously in heads-up display, which is really shooting up. There is a tremendous display in the e-mirrors. There is a tremendous display interest in the side mirrors. So this is actually very interesting. The technology megatrends are, the sector is getting driven by multiple core vectors. If you take a look at it, what are they? First, the user need for security. Second, the user need for communication and functionality. And third is the user need for a better user experience. So maybe, that rooftop display is not what powers my interest, but definitely the other vectors are relevant. And depending on the sort of user that is there, the sort of target market that is there, I'm sure there will be people who will be willing to pay for that rooftop display with all the vibrancy that it brings out for the end user. I know I will get a lot of pressure from my granddaughters to take a vehicle with rooftop display, but that's a different environment altogether. These factors also actually create a need for very specific, they're triggered by specific needs, they have a need for very specific functionalities. So if you take a look at safety, you have to minimize the distractions to the driver, enhance his field of view, you want to monitor the status of drivers, the passengers, maybe the outside world. And therefore you need to create displays that are so designed in that vehicle that they reduce distraction, are appropriately interfaced with the electronics, okay, are appropriately cyber secure so that they cannot be corrupted. and they can function and deliver the value that they are supposed to deliver. And they manage the privacy interests of the passengers, other people. The communications will be actually standards which will evolve that will facilitate communication between vehicles and the objects, and between vehicles and external sensors that are there on the road. User experience, you got a view of some of them here, but I guess the users themselves will keep on redefining as innovations are created by the marketplace. The key technology influencers will range from design aesthetics to quality to functionality to reliability to security. All these are so vibrant that they will tend to pull people in. In fact, as somebody commented, in certain geographies of the world, now displays have increased their footprint in the automotive dramatically. The way they are coming in, if you take a look at the rear view mirror or side view mirrors, heads-up displays, instrument clusters or center stacks, each of these will also trigger specific technology needs based on functionalities that they want. For your rear view mirror functionality when display is off, high transmission window when display is on. Performance enablers could be the sort of light enhancement films that have to be created, the transmission mirror films that have to be created, the electronics that will actually drive it. The display requirements for heads-up display will be aimed at minimizing the solar heat gain, improve the viewability, improve the optics and the package size that will be used for creating that particular device. The performance enablers will be polarizers, advanced optics, folded optics. These will be the drivers for it. Instrument cluster and center stack displays will have to deal with need for a wider viewing angle, reflection management, sunlight readability, fingerprint migration, head impact, and there will be a related bunch of technology enablers that will be the drivers for this as the market forces pull the in. Newer applications like automated driver assistance system, autonomous driving, they are all going to be leveraging the new interfaces. There will be clearly, if you take a look at the diagram on the absolute right, just give me one second. So if you take a look at it, this is actually capturing the image in yellow is capturing the heads-up display system with a picture generating unit, and then it has at the end of it an optics out there, a folding optics, resulting into a reflective image which is created in front of the driver to lay out the message on the road that he is seeing. So it has to be done in a way that it permits the access to the visual capability, enhances it, delivers added value. So if you take a look at the applications that are coming up, you are seeing the pillar displays to minimize blind spots, rear seat entertainment displays with challenges. They have to compete with carry aboard handheld devices, your mobiles with the children. Clearly an era has come where automotive displays is a cross-functional subject. It involves technologies which could be ranging from LCD to OLED to micro LEDs. Right now, LCDs, as you saw in the earlier chart, they were ruling the roost, hundreds of millions of units getting sold. OLEDs were coming in, they were in millions of units. And then you had the micro LEDs, which are showing extremely high growth. But when you look at the data in fineness, you realize it's in actually tens of thousands of units. So clearly, technologies are right now battling it out. Micro LED right now very costly, still has some yield problems to address, but it's a focus area. At a point of time over the next decade, it will reach the tipping point. Clearly, there are technology applications in which it will rule the roost, And with its promise, maybe one day it will come into the mainstream. Human factors are going to be fundamental. It's not just the electronics of it, not just the optics of it, it's the human factor, which is a key subject of the display industry. In fact, if you go through some of the presentations at Display Week, the keynotes, they focus tremendously on the human eye and its interaction with the display system. So that's it. We have come a long way in these 100 years, but a lot more is, I think, waiting on the road ahead. So on that message, I conclude my presentation and invite Nikhil to take the center stage.
Thank you, sir. So whatever you showed, I will go to the similar things, but I'll stick more on the data, and I'll show you the. Okay, before I start, let me tell you something about control point research. So the verticals that you see on the right hand side, the red ones, are the verticals along which Counterpoint does the research, market research and analysis. Out of that, the display that you see on the right front is because of the acquisition of DSCC. So basically, DSCC is a US-based company, display supply chain consultants. So recently, in September 2023, it was acquired by Counterpoint, and then after that, we also have the display vertical. So since all of you are from automotive here, I'll highlight more on the automotive sector. So what are the verticals inside automotive verticals that we support? So starting from the electric vehicles, connected vehicles, digital cockpit, autonomous vehicles, software, mobility, and then if you see at the bottom the semiconductor components along each verticals. So we do extensive research and analysis on these sectors, and obviously most of you are from automotive and with different domains, so please do reach out to us if you need any help on this. So today I will be sticking only on the digital cockpit displays. This is an agenda for the day. So we'll start with the infotainment overview, then the regional analysis, then we'll look into the feature analysis, and then we'll go to the OEM analysis and the supply analysis. So like we started with the image in the previous slide, so I will just show you the graphical representation of how we were, where we are currently, and where we are moving. So we started with the analog clusters and the DIMMs studio, which used to be just the audio support, and then slowly we migrated towards the central infotainment display, which was digitalized, and then the digital infotainment cluster. So analog was converted into digital infotainment cluster, and then the addition of other displays like the passenger infotainment displays, the HUDs, then the rear view displays, then the displays everywhere in the body, in the roof, and then when all these displays were already incorporated into inside the cockpit, then slowly we started consolidating them, merging them, and then started the trend of pillar-to-pillar displays. So basically, how we are evolving, it's not just about the display. We can design a display in any shape or format. Inside the cockpit, what exactly is driving these changes? So you can see the trend from head unit. So earlier there used to be just the head units, which was only supporting the infotainment and the audio, and then we slowly migrated towards controlling, basically the cockpit domain controller, which was supporting along with the infotainment, along with the sound. It was started also supporting the safety features, the basic safety features like SID, and then moving towards the more advanced trends of HPC ECU, which is high performance computing ECUs, which not only supports our infotainment, which not only gives information to the driver, it also critically controls all the safety features up to SID, because the features like ADAS, autonomous vehicles, those are getting controlled by the advanced HPC ECUs. So basically, the whole electrical and electronics architecture inside the cockpit is changing, which is eventually driving the displays to getting bigger and better. So let us look into the regional analysis. I think most of the competitors will be interested in seeing the data of how we are doing. So if you look at the global infotainment systems in the car sold from the region, by region, from the year 2022 to 2030. So through the span of 9 years, you can see like the sales moved from 71.1 million units to 81.5 million units, and it is projected that it will cross 95 million units by the end of 2030. Clearly, China, North America, and Europe are leading the market shares. Currently, China has about like 31.3% market share, followed by North America at 23.5%, and Europe at 19%. And they will continue to lead. Maybe over the next couple of years, they will continue to lead. But good thing here to note is that the developing markets like India, Southeast Asia, Latin America, and Middle East and Africa, they will continue to grow their volumes. So when you see in 2024, the volume was 81.5 million, and then the volume is going to 95 million in 2030. Especially if you look at India, our percentage share is increasing from 5.3 to 5.5. But if you see in terms of volume, the volumes are increasing because especially in developed countries, the number of vehicles per inhabitants per person is way more than the developing countries. So there are already too many cars in those developed countries. So what will drive the growth later is the countries, those who are actually developing now, like India, as I mentioned, India and Southeast Asia. So where the number of cars per inhabitants, per house, per person will increase slowly, and that will eventually drive the number of volumes in the years. Now, if we later deep dive more into the regional analysis, if you look at the automotive suppliers, clearly you can see, like as I mentioned in the previous slide, so as of Q1 2025, China has 36% of market share, Europe has nearly 18%, Latin America 21%. So these are clearly the biggest players. But now let us focus on India, because our focus is on India market. So how India is going to develop in the future. So India clearly has 5% of market share, and Suzuki is the largest player in India, which has nearly 40% of the share, which is then followed by the Hyundai and Kia group, and then Mahindra and Mahindra, which is then followed by Tata and Toyota groups. Now the interesting thing later I will show is about the supplier analysis. I'll focus only on the India. If you could see in India, Visteon and JNS Instruments are doing really well. Visteon has nearly 24% of the market share as of Q1 2025. JNS Instruments has 22.5%, and which is being followed by obviously Harman, Denso, and Toyotas. Here, it is quite noticing that Harman is very aggressively gaining the market share because of getting their partnership with the hybrid vehicles, electronic vehicles, autonomous vehicles. So obviously Visteon and JNS are doing good, but Harman is rapidly getting the share. Now let us talk about a few of the features. So I will be using the term DIC for digital infotainment cluster, which is in front of the driver, and then central infotainment display CID, and then HUD, heads up display. So if you look at the global trend of last 2 years, quarter on quarter, nearly 80% of the vehicles sold were completely digitalized in terms of the DIC. They were completely digitalized. And if I combine the partial plus the complete digital, then it is close to more than 95%. That means analog is slowly fading away from the market. So the infotainment cluster which is in front of the driver is now almost 95% digitalized, and the remaining 5% will be obviously digitalized in the coming years. Now let us look at the size. The central infotainment display, which is at the center of the vehicle. So we can clearly see that the size 5 to 10 inch is being clearly overtaken by the size of the range 10 to 15 inch. And 10 to 15 inch is continuously growing, and actually it is growing on the upper side. basically more than 10 inch. And clearly, as on Q4 2024, 10 to 15 inch has a market share of nearly 55%, which is the highest, and then followed by the lower size. What interesting thing is to see here is that the 15 to 20 inch size is growing very rapidly, and that is being driven by again the EVs, the autonomous vehicles, the premium segment vehicles. And let us look at the technology behind the CID. So nearly 98% of the CIDs that are being sold are on LCD technology. Obviously, LCD is dominant from the beginning, and OLED is slowly penetrating. And OLED and mini LED are the ones which are penetrating slowly, which holds around nearly 2%. And they will continue to be on the lower side as of now, because they are mostly being preferred in the premium cars. So it is obvious that the LCD will continue to lead this share. And let us look at the touch screen, which is enabling the CID. Obviously, every car nowadays that we see is enabled by touch screen on the CID. So nearly 99% you can see as of Q4 24 are being enabled by the touch. There are 1% which are still non-enabled. So in that 1%, it is either because they don't have touch, or they have CID, or they don't have CID at all. So the ones in that 1%, the ones which do not have CID are basically coming from the markets of China and India, because there are still some cars which are coming in the lower range, where the manufacturers are not giving the central infotainment display. And there are few cars in Japan which are actually giving the central infotainment display, but they are not giving touch. But then they are in very minor ratio. So that's why touch will be always there. As per the market trend, you can see that touch will always be there for the central infotainment display. Now, talking about the HUD market, obviously the penetration is really slow. Like I told, that almost all the cars have central infotainment display, they have been centralized. But HUD is slowly migrating. You can see the numbers you saw earlier was way higher than these numbers. And China clearly has, out of all the cars that have HUD, China clearly has the largest market share. Nearly 60% of the cars sold in China has HUD. So, sir, you were asking about HUD in the previous, like where I can get it. Obviously, India is way far, but the penetration is slow, but we are moving.
It's just a tipping point now, as some units coming to the market.
And the HUDs that are coming here are mostly on the reflective HUD.
Yeah.
But we can talk about HUD later.
I think it's an opportunity for somebody to actually get it. Take off it.
Now let us look at the OEM analysis. If you look at the global infotainment sales by OEM group on the last 9 years, from 2022 to obviously 2030, the Toyota, Volkswagen and Hyundai Kia group are clearly leading their shares in terms of the infotainment that are being sold. The good thing to note here is the BYD Auto, they are going to gain their market share rapidly, and the reason is that they have a very broad lineup of vehicles in the different market segments. Yeah, I'll pause on this slide for a few seconds if someone wants to, if the competitors are interested to take photos. Okay, one thing in contrast, we can see that the Renault Nissan group, the Stellantis and GM are slowly losing the market share. It's because of the EV era. The other players are doing better in the EV era, and it's because of their sales out of their home regions. Now we look at the supplier analysis. Obviously, DZSV, which is a Chinese company, Harman and Panasonic, they are the leading suppliers for the infotainment across globally. And the important thing to note here is that the Chinese players, if I just go back one or two slides, I just wanted to highlight a point which I forgot. Here, I wanted to highlight that if you look at the Chinese player, this is BYD and all those players, they are the Chinese player and they are very much China centric. But whereas if you look at the global players like Visteon or Harman, for example, they are globally widespread. So as of now, Chinese players are very much Chinese centric, but slowly they are going to penetrate into the global market, and that's what the competitors to look for, that how they can compete with these Chinese players. So now if I go to the last slide where I was talking, here if you see the BYD, ECARX, continuously in the forecasted data you can see that 25 to 2030, continuously these Chinese players are increasing their share, because the rumor is they are continuously in talks and they want to enter the global market, and eventually that will drive their volume. Now let us look at the relationship between the automaker and the suppliers. So this is basically based on the global sales data. The red one are the leading suppliers, followed by the alternate suppliers. I'll pause for a few seconds if you can. Now there is another list of the automakers. So that's all for today, and in the interest of time I have kept it very short and very much I've kept it short, and thanks to the ICE and SID, as I clearly mentioned in the beginning, that this is, I think, one of a kind of initiative that, especially for display, which doesn't used to happen in India, and something like this is happening. So, really thanks and appreciate it. Thank you.
Just taking Dr. Srinivasan on board. Sir, I am.
Yeah, are you able to hear me, doctor?
I can hear you clearly. Just take
Okay.
control of the screen. And
Okay.
I'm sorry you're seeing a thank you now, but your presentation can go live. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, doctor, for this really great initiative from SID platform, and thanks for the opportunity for this presentations, presenting this something OEM perspective, what we need, what we expect from the tier 1s and tier 2s and the government bodies on display perspective. And of course there are a lot of challenges also available there. So this is going to be around 10 to 15 minutes, and I'll talk about slightly on this topic. And the previous speakers, Mr. Doctor and Mr. Nikhil, I think they have covered almost big technologies, big words, which I could listen, but I could not see their presentations. Their pillar-to-pillar display, AR HUVs, SDVs, software-defined vehicles. Especially in this kind of forum, I'm hearing such words, really appreciate and I'm happy to be part of it. And HPCC, usually HPCC is only OEMs will use, but I see that Nikhil was using it. And he talks about touch and virtual, and VOD is rapidly growing locally within China and as well globally. I endorse most of their research by Nikhil. I appreciate. Thank you so much, Nikhil. Probably I'll quickly summarize the Nikhil's point where the China-centric suppliers and OEMs are going globally. I'll take this word more specifically as a punch dialogue probably. Maybe I'll put next time, Nikhil, please use this. China-centric suppliers and OEMs are going globally, which threats to the most of the global OEMs. So we have to react to that immediately as an Indian OEMs, as we are proud to be Indian OEMs, and we want to be a local at the same time global. So with this note, I'll slightly go over my presentations. So today in India, the road safety, especially in other global, even Mr. Nitin Gadkari has also talked about it. He was shy away from the talking about this road safety. So from that words, last 1.5 years ago, he mentioned that I take this opportunity to make this awareness to all users and my customers of drivers and all the passengers who are on part of it automotive. Are we ready for a zero accident? Really, yes or no? I am not able to hear the audience, but however, it is possible. Yeah, it is possible. How do you achieve this? Please follow road signs, vehicle with safety features. I request all of our audience here and people here on this event, put it in your mind. I take this opportunity to pledge myself to follow the road signs and vehicle with a lot of features available right now. ADAS features which Nikhil was talking about other people. So utilize that ADAS features and follow the road signs and go for a safe drive and safe flight. I'll pause for 10 seconds. Please pledge yourself. So now we talk about automotive trends. I think both of them covered very much, but I would like to endorse their research and the research analysis by both Dr. and Nikhil. That slightly I touch on only few categories. Today, everyone in the organization in this world, people are focusing on reducing carbon emissions. This is going to be a disaster if you are continuing to with these conditions. So everyone is looking out for it. And many research are going on new materials like carbon nanotubes, which I have mentioned. It is really, I love that material. It is really awesome material. I am sure this will rule the market in future. And a lot of new manufacturing processes are evolved. And next big ticket items are purchasing decisions will shift on online resources. If you look at today, 10 years ago, we used to go to shopping mall. We used to go to hotels, at least somewhere, some tours. Now everything is online, everything in front of us. Anything, I don't want to say anything. Flipkart, Amazon, Blinkit, Zomato, Swiggy, Uber, Ola, everything is online. So that things are going in a very, very faster manner. So probably we have to make somewhat, fitness should be online, so that we'll be fit always. That will not happen because God has not created that. So next technology is going to be disruptive technology, is called information and communication technology. This will rule another couple of years or maybe another, we don't know what is the next disruptive, but this ICT will rule another at least 20 years, which will electric vehicles, probably hybrid vehicles as well, because there are a lot of anxiety in electrical vehicles, but there is no anxiety. Please buy electric vehicles, no worry about it, and And of course, for a long people, we are all, as OEMs, also developing hybrid vehicles in future. And of course, available fuel. And after that, there will be driverless. We don't want to drive ourselves. We don't want to get into fatigue. We want to sit and relax and move around the places what we want. This is another driverless, which is Doctor also talked about the autonomous vehicles, ADAS features, SDV, all those things will be in the future. And another big growth will be connected cockpit. That is, the connected vehicles. It is connected to your cloud. You can do whatever you want. As you are sitting in your mobile, you can same thing can be done at inside a vehicle. That is been completely connected. Vehicle is connected to your complete external world, VX or CV2X. And maybe the automotive dashboard trends, if you look at in 2020 to 30, maybe we did some, maybe around 10, 15 years ago, 10, 15 years of span, the human drive was more. That is what I see, that a lot of accidents. I used to think because of humans are driving 100%. There is no supporting feature or assistance to the drivers. But still, the rich information was provided. Some of the information, a lot of sensors being invited or put into the vehicle, and we could see something. Then after that, it became a fancy designs, and the customizing feature is going to be a customizable and immersive display. I'm using word immersive. That will be literally will be immersed inside the product. So you don't need to drive because driven by something else, machine. So you can immerse yourself, enjoy yourself. Look at rich information display in olden days, probably 5-6 years ago, or before 2020, before COVID, probably. That CAD, PAD, PHEAD, analog clusters, all separate motor burst, and head-up display that the normal one. Where floating, flipping, all those things can be considered. In 2025, which look at, we have windshield head, CAD, PAD, DID, so driver for separate display, and the infotainment display, and passenger display, entertainment display. That is specifically, if you look at our BEV vehicle, born electric vehicle recently launched, has these three displays. And also apart from this, we also have AR HUD. If you look at 2027, it is going to be, instead of 3 small displays, probably we can think of bigger display and small display. So that will be differentiating the brand differentiation between OEMs. But information will be more or less same whatever we have. As the displays market is growing fast, we could think of and we could give more experience to the users, like rooftop displays, where he can watch movies very in a theater mode, and have some laptop connection to the rear rooftop screens for a privacy reviews and all when it is in case of chef-driven vehicles. And additionally, the glass windows, we can give a lot of stuff. Today, if you ask, everything's become digital. When, as I mentioned before, everything becomes digital. You will not see what is outside. Maybe in Chennai, because I past 15 years, I'm in Chennai. I lived in Pune, Bangalore and all. We used to travel a lot. If I go to some, one place to other place, ask some locally, people will say, auto drivers, hey, go there, that side, this side. They'll give you some information. You can easily reach there. Today, everything has become Google. So now you will not see that. So you have to be dependent on the digital era. So there, when the windshield, I mean not windshield, the windows are there, we can put a lot of information there. If you cross some places, maybe some kind of exciting buildings or some shopping mall, better shopping mall, add to it. You know, you are nearing to the shopping mall, bigger shopping mall, you can buy a lot of stuff. So you can use it for the other, application advertisement, personal advertisement based on your private data, where you want to buy some shoes and you want to keep some, data you want to buy. So when you go nearby the showroom, place, that sudden bottom pop-up will come to your glass. Just I'm thinking to have such thing. We did some kind of brainstorming what are the use cases for glass window displays. So a lot of opportunities for glass window displays and rooftop displays. And of course the panoramic HUD is something picking up, we need to watch and see how best we can do it, but the BMW is already in place. It looks awesome. And the doctor was talking about e-mirrors. Yeah, e-mirrors is really a wanted feature that helps in the mist conditions, in rainy conditions. We are not able to see what is outside. So e-mirrors are picking up a lot in Indian market and also outside India. So we'll drive through that kind of displays feature. And after by 2030 or maybe 28 onwards or maybe 2030 beyond, we'll always look at pillar-to-pillar display with a very beautifully single glass solution, something like that. I'm sure that in Chinese, as Mr. Nikhil was talking about, the Chinese or in Chinese vehicles, they're already there, one or two vehicles, but that is not that is so good, but it is not excited right now. But probably most of the users will get to it. So pillar to pillar, single glass solutions, and it's going to be customized and it give you beautifully immersive display. For me, I liked it so much. If you are sitting in a vehicle, look at a big display and sunrise is coming up, and watch some yoga, the musics. Really, you will be immersed, and you will be immersed in that. But in on stationary condition, not on driving conditions. So I'm sure the pillar-to-pillar displays in the glass is going to be penetrated much. And AR HUD is going to be another drastic progress is there, and it is really a good feature, and we should utilize and we should make that awareness to the users to use the AR HUDs and the ADAS features, land departure, and so many other blind spot identification. So many features are available. And whatever I mentioned is I could justify to by the futuristic cars by the across global regions, across global OEMs, India and other across regions, Japan, China, Europe, and US. So if you look at this, immersive screens are the bigger screens. Bigger screens are there, and you see a lot of big screens are coming up in this one. And if you look at comfortable and relaxing seat, special seats and cozy colors, it looks so cozy, and you'll get mesmerized with that colors. And large screen is always going to be preferred by OEMs nowadays as a differentiator. Probably I'm proud to say that Mahindra is one of the first person to launch bigger display by using SDV platform, software defined vehicle with the Snapdragon chipset. And if you look at this one, looks like this one other global OEM which bigger screen, and in middle will have another CID. So this may be panoramic, and this will be this one. So this may be probably German OEM. And if you look at this luxurious, you'll get mesmerized to this by looking at this picture. Opulent to luxurious. It's really awesome. Products are lined up in future, but in this, lot more displays in the vehicle. So we have to innovate a lot more. How do you fit all our displays today to this? This component packaging, Doctor, is that another 5 more minutes for me?
Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. And component packaging space, just give us some glimpse of it. If you look at mobile phones in olden days, 20 years ago, it's so, 1 kg, and we have to take only hello, hi, only one way communication kind of stuff, no. But today, it is completely, everything is in single. Small, palm size, everything is inside. So bigger size, less feature, 20 years ago, now more feature with less size. So we have to utilize, similarly the car, if you look at old, maybe now or maybe before, maybe 10 years ago, and if you look at this, in EV vehicles, it has been converted into storage. So we are giving more space to the users so that they will enjoy that. So we have more space. End of the day, customer satisfaction is more important. Customer experience is more important. How do you make them more happy to be loyal to us? So we have to think more specifically, especially maybe next speaker, Mrs. Satyendra will talk about it probably. Less product space gives more space for the customer. So we should think in every aspect what best we can reduce the space. Because nanomaterials are growing up, nanoparticles are growing up. We are not using much. We should not use bulk materials. We should use nanoparticles to bring that product in a very smaller package. To justify this, we as Mahindra, Gen 1, probably, 25 years ago, we used some kind of analog gauges. Look at that, analog gauges. And become transition small here, and we come up with some displays in XEV 500, in really infotainment product. It's all audio cluster. We call it an audio cluster in these regions. But in XEV 50, we talk about infotainment. Information plus entertainment. That was given in 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And after that, we transformed into somewhat, bit bigger features. And now we released Gen 7 few months ago, that 3 display pillar to pillar, it's 12.3-inch displays. So we have transformed so much, and we are all at par with the transformation of global industry and global technologies. And I leave it to you. After 3 display, what? So I leave it to you. You think what we are going to be and what we will do. So we'll wait and see. So here, maybe I'll say in a nutshell that we are given more features with less space. In Gen 7, 3 display with SDV platform, almost we can do. Even please have experienced the audio with this vehicle. It is really awesome. You can compare with that, theater effect. So please have a look at it. So we have done beautifully with more features, more experience by the customers with a very little space. And as local for vocal, or local to vocal. If you look at today, the bill of material of displays, majority will be around 4 or 5 components are very critical. Other things, as an Indians, we are able to generate, localize it, vocalize it in Indian market. Some of things we could not do it. TFT glass panel manufacturing, cover glass manufacturing, optical bonding, and backlight units. Probably these, and of course some of the structural component also, some of the materials. The first 5 items, which which we cannot do it properly. We need some kind of support and push from government officials. I'm sure the officials should be part of this meeting. Maybe I request doctor to take it up to the government officials to give some kind of push, general push to make this happen in the Indian scenarios. We have to reduce that import content. Yeah, I think these are all some of the technologies, TFT, OLED, miniature LEDs and quantum displays. But probably, I'll touch upon only a few items here. The prawns all are good. Of course, OLED is extremely nice, but cost is very high. And the quantum display is something which we need to look at it more. But otherwise, the LCD technology is evergreen, probably I'll say, that is keep going. And maybe some of the stuff we should keep watching it. So I leave it, probably it can be shared to the people to look at it, what are the pros and cons. And maybe I'll touch upon one point here, the color gamut and contrast. Our customer wanted to have more. So today we are in 70 to 80%, 1000 contrast ratio and other food items, but we should go more so that we'll get better. Looks like OLED is, everyone knows that's beautiful technology, but cost is high. Mr. Doctor also talked about it, that we should reduce the cost. And really awesome technology OLED, and probably quantum is really good, but should look at the cost and other stuff to implement it. And some of the research articles, some of the problems are, so much of problems are available when we go for so much big displays, so many displays are also there. We should think, when we give more, we should also think what could be the impact of the users, and drivability, safety of the vehicle, safety of the people, passengers, drivers. So these are the articles. Visual overload is complex when we go for a more, and poor legibility when in case of watching some kind of movies and the readings and all. So we should look HMI perspective, all those things to be looked at. And challenges for elderly drivers. Because I recently read that by another 30 to 40 Indians, aged people are more compared to young. So now how they react to this new technologies, we have to think in that perspective and address this upcoming vehicles. We'll do that as well. We'll support. So I'll leave it to you. Look at this. And this is my end of study. End of these presentations. And actions will be focus on road safety and more space for customers with more displays. Avoid driver distractions and innovative technologies and support for local for vocal. So with this, thank you so much for the opportunity. I'll over to Mr. Dr. Agarwal.
Thank you, sir. Really appreciate your views on this one. I think time will tell how these innovations will unfold out. But I'm actually amazed at the sheer scope of creativity that human mind has. And on that note, sir, I will invite Ma'am Savinder. Ma'am, if you can take the floor. Savinder ma'am leads the optics division at Madeli.
Thank you, Dr. Ashwini, for giving me the opportunity. Thank you, audience, to all of you for being here. So it's been a great initiative that SIB and ICE is taking this initiative, so that we can at least start brainstorming on the activities that how we can do the localization for the displays, mainly on the TFT. So whatever the content Dr. Ashwini, Nikhil and Dr. Srinivasan present, that all content, the medium should be or the source should be the display, the TFTs. So I am here to discuss about more about this TFT, about the TFT technology, and how we can use this TFT into the multiple applications. As nowadays we have more and more demand in the vehicle for the more and more display. There can be more than 10 display into the vehicles. That can be the future of the India vehicles also. So most of the speakers talk about global scenario, but here I want to focus for the India scenario, that how the market is evolving about the displays, and how market is adapting the TFTs, and how soon we can be in the situation to manufacture the TFT. As Srini sir has shown some BOM for the TFTs, how we can use our intelligence or our education so that we can be in the situation in next years that yes, we can develop our own TFTs, our own backlights, do optical bondings and lots of stuff. So market is here, lots of people having more education knowledge. So I will start my presentation with this note. So here I talk about, like, I am representing here most of the three topics, like how we are having the demands from customer or demand from the end user in terms of display performance, in terms of product form factor, display form factor, as now Srinisha had told that less space, more information. So how we can evolve this thing into the TFTs, into the displays. And yes, future is the advanced display. So I will speak about 1 to 2 minutes for each topic. Like in terms of display performance, earlier we have seen the analog display, we have lots of pointers, we have lots of mechanical structure, weight is also very huge in terms of instrument cluster, in terms of infotainment display. But now with the help of bigger TFTs, we are reducing it, we are converting it into the digital information. So it's digital information. Apart from that, customer is focusing on the aesthetics also, like they need narrow border, they need high contrast, because contrast is the one who can give black more black. Likewise the OLEDs. Customer needs high color gamut, so that we can cover more colors into the TFT. So as we are making it with less components, but the performance of components will also impact in terms of thermal management also. So we need to take care of that thermal management also. And as far as now, earlier vehicles having the hood, like instrument clusters are behind the steering wheel, but with the hood. Nowadays, customer needs slab kind of display. It's a floating display, so we need to take care of the reflection also. So the display property should have some surface coating that can provide low reflection because of the sun. So this is the display performance. Apart from these critical parameters, there are many more. We can discuss on that also, maybe in some other platform. Now I move to next topic, that product form factor. I have given one photograph in which I am showing that pillar-to-pillar display, one center step display, and there are rear seat displays also. There can be a roof display also. So they can be in large size. We can integrate CID, PID and DID in the whole slab that I am showing in this picture. So we need more and more advanced technology. So there are various technology in which we can develop the TFT. Which technology can support the bigger display, which will know how we are selecting the technology, that also factors. So there can be a multiple display, free-form display, there can be any shape of the display, or dual or multi-display. Here I have chosen a word local dimming. So local dimming is the one factor that can help us to achieve more contrast. Likewise the OLEDs, if we are using the simple TFT also. So local dimming, I am saying that when we are talking about the TFT, then it needs always a backlight. And backlight can be of two types. It can be a edge backlight or it can be a direct backlight. So with the help of direct backlight, we can help TFT to produce more contrast by giving it local dimming. So if we have certain HMI, on HMI if we have a less grayscale levels, zero grayscale levels, behind those pixels we can able to dim the LED so that black can become more black and it will increase the contrast. And now I move to the third topic, the advanced display. So with the advanced display, like global is evolving already this advanced display. Like now era is the ADAS. We have multi levels of ADAS. India is on the initial stage, but in global market it is at the final stage. So display should have the capability for the end user gesture recognition and its movement recognition. So we have very advanced technology in the market, that innovations are already going on, that how we can put a camera in the TFT also, so that we can have a direct monitoring of the driver in a very precise viewing cone, so that there can not be any fault. And now we all are talking about more and more display into the vehicles, but there is a driver also who is driving the car. So if he will also interact with multiple display, then it is a distraction while the driving. So with the help of privacy mode, we can help the driver so that he can focus on his driving, and other co-passenger or the rear seat passengers can enjoy their content on the various available TFTs in the vehicle. And yes, if we are checking the global market, and Nikhil was showing so many data about the global trends and all the things, in coming years maybe instrument cluster will lose from the car and it will take place by the HUDs. As we are talking about pillar-to-pillar HUDs, so in pillar-to-pillar HUD we have one HUD for the cluster application, one for the infotainment application. It can be an add-on display also. It can give us a Google map, which can give us a nearby restaurant information, or about the weather, or about any information that OEM will require or end user will require. So then we have the mini LED BLU also. Likewise, we are working on the local dimming. Local dimming can be done with the normal LEDs, big package LEDs. It can be done with the micro LEDs or mini LEDs also. So it will also take place in the coming years. Yes, OLED is already there, but it will take more place into the market in future. And then there are transparent display. It can be done via the OLED, or there are some other various optics techniques also that we can achieve transparent displays, like we can do the projection also, or we can use the holographic diffusers to achieve all the things. And last, it is also a very good technology that OEM is also asking. It is hidden display. So when it is off, it looks like there is no display. But whenever it is required, then it will give us the information, likewise the other normal displays. So I speak a lot about the display and all the things. Now because I am from the technical side, so I want to give some information that what kind of technology is available in the market in terms of TFT displays, and how we are selecting the displays based on the customer specifications. So here I wanted to show, like we have majorly three kinds of technology in the TFT. One is the amorphous silicon, the second one is the LTPS, and third one is the oxide technology. Each technology has their own pros and cons. Amorphous silicon is widely used technology as it is low cost and easy to be fabricated. Whereas when in terms of high contrast, narrow borders, high refresh rate, low frame rates. Then we need to jump on the LTPS and oxide. So LTPS and oxide technology has a close competition, but sometimes we need to compromise on some parameter and we can wisely selecting the oxide or LTPS. When it comes to the high resolution, then definitely we are jumping to the LTPS or oxide, because resolution is also playing a vital role here now in India. Earlier the requirement is on the SD resolution, standard resolution. Now the requirement is coming for the high resolution, HD, for the 4K and more. So I have tried to show small graph here about the advantage or disadvantage of each technology. I try to show that some suppliers are really promising. They have a good hands-on the oxide technology also, like they have a latest generations of the glass in which they can provide more and more display, having a cost advantage as compared to the LTPS technology. In the last, there is a segment of OLED and micro LED also. So maybe in some other time I will explain about more about this technology and about its principle also. So now in my first slide I have given a word privacy mode. So here I have prepared some material so that everyone can understand this term also. Maybe you are all aware, but still from the technical side I wanted to explain. Like there are more and more display into the vehicle nowadays and driver can be distracted. So with the help of privacy mode technology, we can avoid to reach the information of co-passenger display to the driver side. So there can be two kinds of privacy. One is the static privacy. In static privacy, simply we are putting a film on the TFTs that can controlling the viewing cone of the TFT and it will constraining the information to reach the driver eye. And second is the active privacy mode or switchable privacy mode. Sometimes we call it SPM, switchable privacy mode. So switchable privacy mode can be achieved by other two ways. It can be a dual cell or it can be a dual backlight. I have shown small pictures for that also. So in the first option, when I am talking about the dual cell mode, we can achieve more than one zone during the privacy mode. Like we can divide the display screen into 5 or 6 zones also. And according to the requirement, we can switch on or switch off the content in these particular zones. And second thing is the dual backlight, in which we have the two backlights. So whenever we need to have a public mode, then we can use the first backlight, and whenever it needs to have a privacy mode, then we can switch to the second backlight. So this is all about the privacy mode. There are lots more technology, there are lots of film required to achieve this privacy mode. Lots of polarizer, lots of retardation plate, wave plates and many more things. Then I have other two topics, camera under panel and ambient light and color temperature sensor. So as I was talking in first slide that now ADAS can be the mandatory requirement, and to monitor the system we can put the camera inside the TFT. So I have shown in the picture that we can give a notch, or now there are some advanced technology also that we can give the camera in the center of the TFT cell also. TFT cell designed in such a way that we can give the camera in the center also to monitor the driver, to have a accurate information of the driver movement. And there are other topic that ambient light and color temperature sensor. So now we have lots of display, lots of power dissipation in the vehicle. So it's not necessary when it's a night we need to have a more illuminance on the TFT or the lights or the indicator lights. So we can use the sensors also so that they can sense the light and adapt the luminance in such a way. So earlier we are giving the sensors outside the TFT, but the sensor can be used into the TFT cell also. Likewise, in the touch technology we have three types: in cell, on cell and out cell. So in cell we have inbuilt the touch inside the TFT cell. So likewise here also we can inbuilt the touch that light sensor inside the cell. So there are lots of innovations that are evolving around. Market is so fast in terms of TFTs and all the things. So it is a good platform that we can discuss with among us about more and more about innovations, and we will try to think like how we can be that much capable that one day our India market is also having all these technology in here locally. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. With this, I am finishing my PPT. Thanks a lot.
May I invite Rahul Chopra sir from IRFI can come on the stage and do the honors of handing over our gift to Matt.